Good morning, everyone. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Matt Roberts. Matt has loved acting from an early age. He has an LAMDA gold medal for speaking of verse, prose, and acting. Matt has appeared in The Undeclared War, The Salisbury Poisoning, The Outlaw Series 1, BBC's Industry Series 1 and 3, and also the BBC's Trial of Christine Keeler, a nightclub scene where everyone had to learn how to jive, and Lady Denham's second footman in Series 1 of Sanditon. He is passionate about comedy and has performed a number of stand-up comedy sets in the Bahamas, New York, Dubai, Birmingham, and Nottingham. He also loves online poker. There we go. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of myself and the Sanditon fandom, I want to thank you very much for joining me today. And we really appreciate it. We love everything Sanditon.
That's fine. I follow on Twitter and I see a lot of the forums and it really was popular and so thanks for that.
Yes, yes, very, very popular. So I know that you told me that you loved acting from an early age, but how young were you when you got the acting bug?
Well, my first ever production, I guess, would have been play school, kindergarten, and my mum tells me because obviously it was before I can remember, but and there's pictures. But I was a Christmas cracker, and I was wrapped up, and I had to jump in into the scene, and I fell over.
Oh,
And of course,
goodness.
when your arms are put in together, so then I had to be helped up, and so I got a laugh even though I wasn't trying. So, but that was it. And then since then, I've done school productions, sixth form productions, and I'm lucky enough to do essay work at the moment.
Okay. Now, can you explain to me what an LAMDA is, please?
Yeah. So that's the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. So my drama teacher at school, Miss Roberts, no relation, she trained us all to do acting and speaking of verse and prose. And there was an exam, and they'd ask you questions that you could prepare for, and then they'd sometimes ask you questions that you had to sort of learn. And one funny anecdote from my LAMDA exams was one of the so what would happen is when you came out of your exam, you would tell everyone what the questions were, and then everyone that would try and work out what they were, but you didn't know you were going to get them. But one girl got asked which theatre group Shakespeare was in, and she answered the Royal Shakespeare Company, when in fact, obviously, the answer is the Lord Chamberlain's Players. So, yeah, some things
It was a trick
really,
question.
yeah, in a way. But yeah, so I enjoyed A level theatre studies, GCSE drama. I kind of did it all.
Okay. Now, you've been in a lot of series as an essay, and you've had to do a lot of different things. Which one was your first essay experience?
My first ever essay experience was filming a Barclay card, credit card advert at St Andrews, which is the home of Birmingham City Football Club. And we literally, I just played a member of the crowd. So we had to just watch an imaginary ball go up and down, and there was a lot of and of course you couldn't wear branded clothes, or so you had to sort of just be a blue fan and a red fan. And but it was a lovely sunny day. Met some nice people. I watched your interview with Mark, and he's right. They feed you very well on set, so that's always good.
That's awesome. So, what was it like playing a Russian god on the Undeclared War?
Yeah, so that one, I went to the job and I didn't know that I was going to be given like an AK-47 and a pistol, and but obviously there's the tragic Alec Baldwin case, so there's a lot of security on on set when you have like pretend firearms. So there's someone that is there all the time, and then as soon as the scene finishes, they take everything off you, and everything has to be counted. And but you know the equipment I was given was plastic, and they, if anything, my notes were make it look a bit heavier than it really is, just so it looks legitimate, you know.
That seems just a little bit difficult when you're holding a piece of plastic and it has to feel like metal.
Yeah, and sometimes you see it on television where someone's carrying a suitcase, and you're like, oh, that looks too light to be a suitcase, you know. So you see sort of to actually have anything in it. Um, so
So how did you hear about Sanditon?
yeah, so I'm in a couple of extras or supporting artists groups, and I'm on some books for various companies, and I got asked to do it. And I always like to research what I'm going to be in, and I have to say I hadn't heard of Sanity, and obviously I'd heard of Jane Austen and everything else, and so it was a whole new experience. Period drama is obviously something I hadn't done before. Those wigs. I was going to show you this actually. So after I filmed Sanditon, it was lockdown. So my wife's friends, and I wasn't married at the time, and we weren't living together. So my wife's friends got a teddy bear
Oh,
in my Sanditon gear, and and it's a bit of a running joke when we have visitors. We sometimes put it on the spare bed.
that's awesome. That
Yeah,
is
but
awesome.
that wig is very, very itchy. I can tell you. It's
Really? Yeah.
yeah. You've got all the hairpins in, and yeah, I think it's the lady casting it said that the wig was worth £5,000, and
Oh
it's
my God.
proper horsehair or whatever it was. So they were very protective of them, and so.
No doubt. I'm sorry, I skipped a question. Oh my goodness, what was the name of it? The one where the trial of Christine Keeler. How long did it take for you to learn how to do the jive?
Well, it was quite funny because I don't consider myself to be a good dancer, and then what the AD sort of said, "Oh, does anyone want to jive?" And it was this nightclub scene, and there was a fight. It was very strange filming a nightclub scene because they don't play any music, and the
Oh God.
music gets added later on because otherwise you can't hear anyone talk, and you can't. So they have this thing called a click track where it's just a very quiet beat so that people can kind of dance to the rhythm. Um, and then so he asked if anyone wanted a jive, and sort of no one was really that interested. And then he was like, "Oh, you get paid extra," and then they were like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it." So this lady came, and it was really a 5 minute lesson of this step, this twist here. If you're with a female partner, you can spin them this way, or you can, So it was quite basic, but it was a lot of fun, and I was dressed in sort of 60s attire, all brown and very, yeah. It was a fun experience.
That's amazing. So you were in one of the largest scenes in the series, the pineapple luncheon. So
Yes.
can you tell us about the pineapple luncheon? Like how long did it take? How complicated was that? Because there was a lot of stuff that was happening. Um,
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff happening. It went on so long that they asked me at the end of one day, where it was supposed to be the last day, whether I could come back and film the day after. And in fact, Mark Stanley, who's obviously gone on to do some fantastic stuff since, I think he had a scheduling clash.
oh
So
dear.
on that last day, he couldn't be there. So they had a camera where he was instead, so that it never really got noticed that he disappeared. Um, but yeah, no, it was fun, and I had to sort of it would go round and pour wine for everyone, and but there were certain lights, so there were certain times where I had to sort of walk past and then stop, so my shadow wouldn't cast on the table, and that kind of thing. Um, and yeah, there was lots of dialogue, lots of different angles, and yeah, it was just a very very busy scene. I've never been in a scene with that many characters speaking, and that much going on. So yeah, it's fun.
In the video that you showed me, it looked like I think it was Tom that was at the end of the table was getting quite pie-eyed because you served him a lot in that scene.
Yes, yeah, I did. I actually, because I'm fascinated with film and TV, was chatting to the props guy and girl, and they actually use sort of non-alcoholic. They basically use grape juice for the red wine, and then they use something else for, but it's not. So obviously it's all alcohol free, but the problem is if you're doing so many takes, then obviously the actors need to go to the bathroom eventually. So they sort of have to look like they're getting sloshed, but not, so,
That's too funny. So, the shower scene with Lily, that was quite scary. Were there any prosthetics or like special effects that were used in like when she put her arm up against the tank?
yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, and so I loved being in that scene. I'm a big fan of Gavin and Stacey. So obviously Dr. Fuchs, played by Adrian Scarborough, was there, and obviously a completely different character, and he's a fantastic actor. But a lot of because there was mild nudity, a lot of that scene was a closed set. So when I was there pouring the water into the boiler, and for the various, and then when there was sort of the scream and the close up, I wasn't physically on set. Um, but yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what how they did it, but I heard the scream, that's for sure. But
Oh my goodness. That's, yeah, it was definitely blood curdling sound that she made, and it was and I think what made it all so much more traumatic for us as viewers is that she did it on purpose, um
yes,
just to get Lady D's sympathies. When it was just like that whole thing that was happening there,
yeah, she's a
with the
fantastic actress.
manipulation. Yes,
Yeah,
she is. They all are amazing. And
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
of amazing people, how was it working with Mark?
Yeah, Mark Jackson, he so professional. Because sometimes you're on set and some SAs don't want to be there, or they're not interested, or they're just ticking the boxes. Whereas Mark would come up to me and say, or when you're standing, we've got our white gloves on. Are you going to have your hands in front of you, or are you going to have yours behind you? And he just wanted us all to look exactly the same, and to look the part. And it's funny because he even named my character. There was, well, I'm obviously not in the credits, but um, if I was, I would be, footman 2 or footman 3, and he thought that Higgs would be Higgs, and he named his character as well. So Parsons and Higgs, and um, so yeah, that was just funny. And he actually drove from Oxford to Bristol almost, well, every day that we worked, which is a really long time because we had to be clean shaven the day we filmed. So you obviously have to get up, you have to make sure you're clean shaven, and then he had a monster drive, and he's always there, well on time, always in a great mood, and just an absolutely lovely guy. And I'm really hope that all his theatre stuff goes well, and I'd love to see it in Edinburgh, but yeah, so just a top guy and really professional.
Yes, he was such a delight to talk to also. So, I'm sure because you were in scenes with a most of the cast, if not all of the cast. Do you have any memorable moments that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, yeah, a couple spring to mind. One, um, so with that big pineapple scene, I had to pour red wine. And whenever you reset, depending what angle, they had to make sure the level of the wine was correct and everything. And now, I went to pour, and Chris Marshall, who obviously played Tom Parker, said sort of whispered to me, "Oh, this is a rehearsal. Don't pour, like just because it's a waste of time, sort of thing." So there I am, pretending to pour, just holding my thing, and my other arm is behind my back, and then I bow to him, and then I move on. Anyway, they shout cut, and the assistant director comes over to me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, like my only job was to pour wine, and I wasn't pouring it. And I said, "Oh, Chris said it was a rehearsal sort of thing." And then there was a reset, and I sort of said to Chris, I said, "Oh, I just got a bit of a bollocking there because you told me not to." And he was so lovely. He called over the assistant director and said, "No, I told him it was all my fault and everything." So that was quite funny. And then another one with Kate Ashfield. Obviously, there's a lot of fire on set, with candles and everything. There was one time where all the lead actors, they're allowed their mobile phones like nearby. So when there's sort of downtime, they'll check their messages or they'll do whatever. Whereas the essays aren't allowed that privilege. So I'm just sort of standing there with not much to do. And she was on her phone, and she was sort of moving, but I could see a guy behind her with like a massive fire to light the. So I sort of said to, like, went like that to her, like to move, and then she moved, and then she turned, and then she saw the massive, the guy with the fire. I mean, it wasn't really close, but she actually came over and said, "Oh, thanks for that. I was in a world of my own," sort of thing, and then we had a chat. And so yeah, but I just loved every minute that I was on set, and obviously loved watching it. And I've seen your petition for the fourth series. Uh,
Yes, yes, yes. We're working on that. We're trying very difficult. We actually have another email blast that's going out tomorrow to Red Planet and Masterpiece, and the people that were involved in the original. Um there's brand new people that are finding it through the internet, that are joining the page and love Jane Austen, and they're getting a lot of new viewers who want to see more,
mhm.
because there are so many stories left to tell. And if we were able to get more, would you want to come back?
Yeah, I was asked to go back for just two and three series, but my wife's a teacher, so in the summer we're often like to make the most of the time away. So I couldn't make the dates, but yeah, I'd go back for sure. It was fantastic.
Would you like to go back as the same character, or would you like to
I
go
mean,
back
I'd,
as
I'd like some speaking parts, and that's the dream. But it's a bit of a catch-22 when if you don't have an agent, then you can't really get one without a back catalogue, but you can't get a back catalogue work without an agent.
yeah.
So it's just sort of a vicious circle. So I just enjoy the essay stuff, and
Mhm.
who knows what might happen in the future.
Yeah. When I spoke with Alana Southerton, and she was the housemaid for the Colburns, and she worked with John Ninnis. She said she would love to come back as like a background character with like the fancy gown and the feather in the hair, and the whole, not necessarily a speaking part, but um and she would love to be that kind of character. And then
Yeah.
when I spoke with Violet, she said she would still like to be the housemaid for the Parkers, because she just enjoyed that. roles so much. So, and she got to do a lot of very interesting things. So it 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 varies with everybody that I've spoken with so far. Excuse me. Um, Now in your comedy sets that you do, is that like a one man show kind of thing, or is it like a group?
Yeah, when it started, I sort of had a bucket list, and I wanted to run a marathon, so I ran a marathon, and then I wanted to do a stand up comedy set, and then I thought, well, I don't want to do it anywhere near where I live because I don't want to do it in front of people I know. It's so much easier. And then I was on holiday in New York, and I thought, oh, I'll drop them an email. So I did the Bowery Poetry Club in West Village, and it was an open mic night. But because I'd contacted them, and I didn't lie, but I said I was a comic from the UK, testing my material. So I sounded like I'd done it lots of times before, whereas I'd never actually done it before. And so I was the second headline act, and all the other ones had to pick the order out of a bucket, and then they go in order. So it was kind of good because the audience were already on my side because they assumed I knew what I was doing, and I just did some fun material about an Englishman in America, and things about teeth and do I live in a castle and things like that. The genuine questions I have been asked. Do you know Prince William? And so yeah, and I've done several. I've done the Bahamas, I've done Dubai, and I've done some in the UK. But it's one of those where it takes a lot of time to write a set and to be original and to just kind of get your persona and other things keep you busy. So I'll definitely do more. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Now, and the online poker, did you stumble into that, or did you just have you always loved poker?
Yeah, no, it's funny because my parents are very anti gambling, should we say, and so it's not like I got taught by them. Um, but I think when I was at university, there was some poker games, and I learnt obviously the order of the hands, and then I started playing live and online as well, and it's a fascinating. Can you call it a sport? Probably not, but it is. The World Series is actually on ESPN, so it's snooker a sport. You never know. But yeah, it's just a fascinating game, and as Kenny Rogers says,
You
you can
gotta
have the
know
best
when to,
hand. Yeah, you can have
yeah.
the best hand and the worst hand, and depending how you play every hand's a winner. So yeah.
So, of all the roles that you've played, Matt, which one was the most challenging?
Um, oh, that's a great question. Um, it's funny because Sanditon was probably the one I did the most days of, because there were lots of different scenes and the scenes took a long time. And you're told you have to be like motionless, when you're in the background, and so it's actually it's quite a challenge to just stay absolutely still for hours and hours and hours, and so that was that. But obviously some school productions where and my LAMDA and my A level theatre studies where you have to learn all your lines. That's probably the hardest bit. And I played Puck, the Shakespeare character, and again that's not quite learning a different language, but that was challenging. So probably Shakespeare overall.
So, how many different were you on just one set, or were there different sets? Because I heard about the airplane hangar being very cold. Was that the interior of Lady Denham's, the airplane hangar?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Bottle Yard Studios, just outside of Bristol. I did get asked to go to Bowood House to film the outdoor scene with the boats and things, but again, I couldn't make that one. But and I'm glad I wasn't in the the nude beach scene. Uh, but that it was interesting to watch, and it's funny how that was a dream holiday back in those days, and it makes you think how lucky we are that air travel is so much easier and available.
Yeah, you can go anywhere you want to now in just a very short amount of time.
Mm.
Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to share with us?
Nothing. A lot of the extra work comes very last minute. So I haven't done any auditions or anything. So nothing imminent. But I'll be sure to share with you if I'm in series 4. If you
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. We
fingers
have a
crossed.
wish list for series 4. So, if you can get any of your friends to sign the petition, that would be great.
Yeah, no, I'll share it around, and obviously I was watching Theo in the Gentleman, and that's a fantastic series, and he's I spoke to him on set, and he was lovely, and yeah, it's great to
He was
see.
a co-producer also, right? He was a
Yeah,
co-producer. Yeah.
that's probably why I was getting coffee and he came and introduced himself, and actually there was one scene where I was serving not at the dinner party but on a tray, and they were all standing around, and he would say under his breath like thank you, like out almost out of character, but just to be polite. And that sometimes on set they think you're props with eyes, and you don't even get communicated with. So he was a lovely guy, and I'm glad he's gone to do fantastic things.
Yeah, that's been getting great reviews. I need to check it out. Definitely. Like everybody, most of the main cast is all doing a lot of new and exciting things. So
Yeah,
I need to check that out. Because it's getting great reviews. And I've heard from speaking with other SAs that the entire cast, like the main cast, are just so lovely and were very pleasant, and there wasn't any of that ego stuff that was happening where, you know, they treated you like, props with eyes.
yeah.
I've
No, no,
never
no.
heard that before.
Uh,
That's
yeah.
great. Excuse me. I apologize for the cold.
No, I hope you get better soon.
Thank you. I need to go to work tomorrow, so I need to get bedded tonight.
Yeah,
Stinks. Um, so with your permission, Matt, and I don't want to take up any more of your time, but with your permission, we're going to share this to Facebook, um, Instagram, YouTube, and I'm sorry, I cannot call it that, Twitter. Um,
yeah,
just, I mean, X
yeah.
just sounds ridiculous to me. It
It
just
does.
does. So
Absolutely,
with your
yeah.
permission, we're gonna share that to our followers because, like I said, they just absolutely love hearing anything that they can about Sanditon. And is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about your time on Sanditon?
No, I just thank you for your time, and thank you for everyone in the Sanderton fan club that watched it and enjoyed it, and I love to see that it's been successful, and so thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me very much. And you have enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, and
It's
you.
later for you there than it is for me, but enjoy the rest of your weekend.